All right, everyone, this is my video on worksheet 3-4. Oh, this is my video on worksheet 3-4. If you're in my class, you know the drill. I'll pull up the answers here in a minute. Stop and grade your worksheet, and then I'll explain how I got the answers. If you're watching this and you're not in my class, you can go ahead and watch it. Just know that I'm going to be going over the skill. I'm not going to be going, I know where my students are at, and so there are certain things I'm not going to stop and explain because we're past it. But you're more than welcome to watch. If you'd like to take the class live, just look in the description and you can go straight to my OutSchool class and sign up. All right, so pause your screens as soon as I throw these answers up here. All right, so the answers are up on the board. Make sure that you pause and grade yourself. Circle any of those ones that you need to do again and watch the rest of this video. You can even scroll to those questions if you like. You don't have to. It's up to you. All right, so let's go through these. I'm going to change my view, so I hope that you have already paused because I am getting started. Let me change my color. I like to do a different color than my answers are in. All right, so the first thing I like to do is just flip-flop this bad boy around. Put my h minus 4 over here, my negative 5 over here. Remember, this is allowed as long as everything that was on the same side is still on the same side. The 4 and the h are on the same side. They're still on the same side. On the other side is the 5. It's still on the other side of them. All right, so everything is lined out perfectly. Okay, and the 4 still remains negative. The h is still positive. The 5 is still negative. So now I gotta ask myself, what is 4 doing to the h? Well, it's subtracting, so to undo it, I have to add it. And because I have to be equal to both sides, because I got this lovely low equal sign, I gotta do the same thing to the other side. Remember our money example at the beginning of the unit. This leaves me with just h, and then negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. All right. That 6 is subtracting the z, so to undo it, I have to do the opposite, which is add. And because of this lovely equal sign that says I promise to be equal to both sides, I got to do that same thing on the other side. All right, I'm going to flip-flop this. Now, I could look at it like this, or I could also flip-flop that b and 7. I don't need to. I can see that the negative 7 is being added to the b, so I need to subtract a negative 7. Watch what happens when I subtract a negative 7. Well, these two go to positive. Okay, this and this are going to make a positive, right? Because double signs make a positive. If you're having trouble with that, you know, I've already mentioned it before, take my crash course in negative and positive numbers. All right, so that's going to turn into a positive, leaving me with 0. That's exactly what I wanted to happen, so I could have my b by itself, but it also turns into a positive over here, giving me the answer of 14. All right, that 5 is subtracting the x, so to undo it, I need to add it. And because there's an equal sign with stuff going on the other side, I need to add it to the other side as well. That way I can be equal. I'm being equal to both sides. That goes away, and I'm left with an 8. All right, I'm just going to flip-flop 4 plus f, so that 4 is being added to the f. So I'm going to subtract the 4. So 4 minus 4 plus f equals negative 7. Got to subtract a 4 here too because I need to be equal to both sides. Got an equal sign. Got to do it. Negative 11. All right, now some decimals. All right, I just flip-flopped it around. The 2.8 is adding to the b, so I'm going to subtract it. And what I do to one side, gotta do to that other side. So I'm also going to subtract it over here. Now remember, you can always take my crash course in negative and positive numbers but you might already know that two negatives mean I add. Okay, so I'm going to add up my debt. So that's going to be 7.1, and since they're both negative, the answer will also be negative. So a negative 7.1. All right, let's flip-flop this around. Same thing as before. This is a negative 5.1. It's being added to the z, so that means I need to subtract a negative. So negative 5.1 subtract a negative 5.1 plus z equals negative 7 minus a negative 5.1. All right, this is going to turn to positive. Positive and negative, it's going to go 0, leaving me just my z. This is also going to go positive, and I'm going to have 1.9 left. The bigger number is negative, so my answer is negative. Again, you can take that crash course in negative and positive numbers if you're struggling with what to do with these negative signs. All right, let's flip-flop this around a little bit. I like my variable to be on the other side. You don't have to do that if you are okay, can get the same answer as me with it on the right-hand side. All right, that 4.6 is positive, and it's being added to the b, so I need to subtract it. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. I'm adding up my debt because they're both negative, which means 8 plus 4.6 is going to give me 12.6. They're both negative, so my answer is also negative. All right, the 6.1 is subtracting the s, so to undo it, I need to add it. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. It's going to give them different signs, which means I'm actually going to subtract these numbers over here, okay? And so let's go ahead and do that. It's going to be 2.8. And the 6.1 is the bigger absolute value, so it's a positive number. All right, some fractions. Okay, so the 12 and a fourth is adding the c, so I have to subtract it from both sides. That goes away, leaving me just with c. I need a common denominator here. My first number is the common denominator I'm going to choose, 8. So that means I need to change that 1/4 to an equivalent fraction that has an 8 in the denominator, which so happens to be 2 8s. All right, so subtract my whole numbers. That leaves me 1. 7 minus 2 is 5. So c equals a positive 1 5/8. All right, in this one, it's a negative, so to get rid of it, got to make it a positive. So I'm going to add 29 5/6 to both sides. Or you can subtract the negative, and it will end up turning to positive anyway. All right, so that's going to go away, leaving me just with a. If I find a common denominator, it's 42. Let's get these equivalent fractions done. Got to add my whole numbers, which is going to give me 30, 40. Add my fractions, which is going to give me 47 over 42. Oh, I got to carry 1 over. Answer's 41 5/40. Last one, the 5/7 is adding the k. So to undo it, I got to subtract it from both sides. goes away here. 5 equals, think of it this way, I have 13 cookies. Someone comes over and takes 5 out of 7 bites of one of my cookies. Well, I still have 12 cookies left. They only bit out of one. And if they take 5 bites of it, I have 2 left out of the 7 bites total to consume the entire cookie. All right, so it's 12 and 2/7. That one we didn't have to do much. Apply some common sense and it should work. All right, so keep doing this until it makes sense. If you have any questions, just contact me and I will see you in the classroom.